This is the portfolio rubric guidance for Nbt A1. Compose and decompose numbers from 11 to 19 into tens and ones using drawings or objects. It is also recording the composition or decomposition using a drawing or writing an equation. To assess this standard, the teacher is assessing the student's ability to compose numbers from 11 to 19 or decompose numbers from 11 to 19 using tens and some more ones. The teacher is also assessing the student's ability to record this using a drawing or an equation. So to assess the standard, there are two parts. First, composing and then decomposing. So taking the numbers from 11 to 19, and to compose the number, they would take some tens and some more ones to make the number. To decompose the number, they would take the total 11 to 19 and break it down into tens and some more ones. For both parts, the teacher is asking the student to record their answer. So they could draw the tens and more ones, or they could use an equation and write, for example, 11 could be 10 plus 1 equals 11, or 11 equals 10 plus 1. The teacher is going to present the student with 4 tasks. There will be 2 composing tasks and 2 decomposing tasks. Also, with each task, the student must also record how they composed or how they decomposed, whether that was with drawings or with an equation. The suggested tasks are some examples. These can be used by teachers for whichever they prefer, if they prefer to do drawings or if they prefer to use objects. These first 2 examples are examples of using drawings. The last 2 examples are examples of using objects. Again, these are suggestions. Teachers can choose which they prefer. For the first example, the teacher is using a writing paper where the student is using drawings. The teacher asked the student to use the tens and the ones to make 12. So the paper would have a group of tens and a group of ones, and the student circles 1 10 and 2 ones to show that is 12. Then the student writes out 10 plus 2 equals 12 to record the composition. And then you will see other examples of a student making 16 by circling 10, a group of 10, 1 10 and 6 ones, writing out the equation to compose 10 plus 6 equals 16. The second 2 tasks are examples of using linking cubes if you wanted to use objects. So this would be decomposing. The student has 11 objects and they make 11 by making a 1 10 and 11. To make 11, they use 1 10 and 1 1. So they make that group. Then they can write out 11 equals a 10 and a 1. So they decompose 11 by making a 10 into a 10 and 1 1. Another example would be to make 19. The student could show 19 is a 10 and 9 ones. Again, writing out that decomposing by writing out 19 equals 10 plus 9. Be sure that if you use this standard to assess, you would do both composing and decomposing the numbers, as well as the opportunity for the student to record how they composed or decomposed. Using a drawing, they can draw it out or write out the equation. Once students have mastered the kindergarten standard, then you can move into assessing this first grade standard. In first grade, the teacher is assessing the student's ability to know that the digits of a 2-digit number represent a group of tens and a group of ones. So the student is able to use the tens and the ones to represent a number that's greater than 20 and to write an equation to represent that problem in as many ways as possible. So how many ways can the student make that number? So the suggested task shows you one way a student may represent 25. One way may be to do 2 10s and 5 1s, which would be 20 plus 5 equals 25. A second way, and these are examples, is 1 10 and 15 1s, and write out 10 plus 15 is 25. A third way could be 0 10s and 25 1s. So 0 plus 25 is 25. So these again are examples if a teacher asks a student to represent 25 in as many ways as possible. For this standard, the required method of evidence is the writing product, where the student has written out the equation or used drawings on their paper. A video must also be included with the writing product if a student is using objects to compose or decompose. Once you have assessed these standards, then you want to score the assessment. So first, looking at the kindergarten standard of composing and decomposing numbers from 11 to 19 using 10s and 1s and recording that composition or decomposition. If the student is not able to accurately complete any of those 4 tasks, that is the score of a level 0. If, when they are presented with the 4 tasks, they're not able to completely complete any of the tasks, but for at least one of the tasks, they were maybe able to compose or to decompose. They just weren't able to do the second part of recording their composition, or vice versa. So if they're able to do part of the task, that would be a level 1. If they are able to accurately complete one entire task of the 4 tasks, that is a level 2. At level 3, a student is accurately able to complete 2 of the 4 tasks. At level 4, the student is accurately able to complete 3 of the 4 tasks. And then at level 5, the student is able to do all 4 tasks accurately. Once the student has mastered the kindergarten standard at the level 5, then the teacher can move into assessing the first grade standard. At the first grade standard, the student is able to take a number greater than 20 and break it down into 10s and 1s and write the equation to represent that problem. If the student can do that for a number in 2 ways, that is the score of a level 6. If the student is able to take a number greater than 20 and represent it into 10s and 1s and write the equation to represent that problem in at least 3 ways, that is the score of a level 7.